What's up? What's up? What's up? What is up, wealth builders? Um, hey, I want to welcome you guys to this late night, early morning live. It is currently 3:54 a.m. and I wanted to do this live because not everybody's up at the same time. I'm a night owl, so I'm up. So in this video, I want you to think about something like, have you ever found yourself imagining what it would be like to own a bunch of real estate properties? Like, have you ever considered what it would be like to generate passive income from real estate investing? Because if so, I want you to understand that this isn't just a dream. This is something that can actually be true for you. It's achievable for anybody that's willing to put in the work to attain it. Doesn't matter if you're part of the rich elite. Doesn't matter if you're a doctor, lawyer, school teacher, janitor, or a person who is currently unemployed. Believe it or not, you can get into real estate investing. You can get started, and you don't have to wait around. So in this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to answer some questions that we've been getting, some of the most common questions that we get asked out from newbies, from seasoned investors. And we got a couple of bonuses I'm going to throw in there too. But I wanted to make this live at this current time because, again, I'm up at this time of the morning. So I know that a lot of people are up. Some people are up getting ready for work. Some people may be just laying down for the night. Some people are up because they don't have work and they're stressing. So hopefully this can solve some problems for you, give you some wisdom, some insight, and help you get started with your real estate investing career, and your real estate journey. So I'm gonna jump kind of right into it. I got a bunch of questions on here. So I'm gonna kind of pick through them. I'm not gonna read the full questions, uh, but I'm gonna give you a basis, a gist of what the person is asking. Um, so for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Ken West. My wife Bunny and we're real estate investors. We've been investing since 2018 full time. And when I say full time, I mean without a regular day job. And it's been great. It's been great. It's been a very big learning curve. There was a lot of mistakes that we made, and we make these type of videos to help you guys not have to make these mistakes, but to just reassure you that you're capable. You're capable of doing this. And if you're like me, you want to get to a point where you don't have to work a 9 to 5. I don't like going in and working a job where somebody else tells me when to come in, when I can have lunch, when I can leave. I don't like it. I did that for 10 years as a United States Marine. I did it for another 5 years in the private sector after I got out. But to be 100% honest with you, I like having time freedom. Um, but time freedom comes at a cost because you don't get a regular paycheck. So that means that you also got to be able to manage your affairs and get your business started. So we answering some of these questions. Hopefully, it helps somebody to propel themselves forward. So the first question, and this is a very common question, is what is the first steps? What are the first steps I should take to start real estate investing? Start investing in real estate. Um, and that's just what I was talking about. The first step is just to start. If you are considering real estate investing either part-time or full-time, there's a couple of questions you can ask yourself. One is, what type of investing do I want to do? There's a big difference between the person who wants to learn how to wholesale versus the person who wants to learn how to be a landlord versus the person who wants to learn how to be a fix and flip. And for some of you, maybe you want to be all of those things at some point. But starting out, it is very good to pick one thing. Bunny and we started out as wholesalers. We wholesaled, and wholesaling is great. Wholesaling is exactly what I would tell a person to do. Like, if you need some quick money, you're trying to get some quick cash, wholesaling is the way to go. If you are a person who have limited funds and you need to build your cash reserves up, wholesaling is the way to go. However, if you're the person who already has, decent credit, maybe got a little bit of cash, not a lot of cash, you can get into fix and flipping. You can get into rehabbing because there's private money out there that you can use for that. So the first step is to get started. Decide what type of real estate investor you want to be and then get started. Don't spend all of your time. I won't say don't spend too much time. Spend time researching, but don't spend all your time researching. You have to get started. You got to start making some moves. If you want to be a wholesaler, you got to start calling people. You got to start getting deals on the contract. If you want to be a fix and flipper, you got to start locating deals. Start reaching out to lenders and figuring out what they would give you on a loan to fix the property up. So all of those different things can definitely help you get started, help start to propel you. Which brings us into the next question: how much money do I need to start investing in real estate? This is a very subjective question. How much money do you need? It really just depends on what type of real estate investing you're trying to do. If you're trying to wholesale, you can learn how to wholesale relatively cheap. There's free platforms out there that you can skip trace on. There's free platforms that you can use to get property information. There's public websites that you can use to get a lot of information. YouTube has a lot of information when it comes down to the how to and how to get started, what steps to take when wholesaling. So you don't need a whole lot of money. Now, it does help to have some money if you plan on doing things like marketing, but if those things aren't high on your priority list and your goal is just to get your first deal done, you can do that with relatively lower amounts of money. Now, there are free ways to do things where you can, do it with no money out of your pocket. But I always tell people this: if it's free to do, it's going to cost you something. It costs you more time. Anything that's free, it probably costs you more time. If you're looking to save some time, then you got to find a way to make some capital. So there's ways to make capital. You can find ways to make money to pay for some marketing. Now, if you're talking about doing like being a landlord, you need enough money to purchase and own a property that you can rent out. And then it depends on what type of landlord. Midterm rental, you need to be able to furnish it. Short-term rental, you need to be able to furnish it. There are companies out there that will do that as well. If you need to know of some, drop it in the comments, and I'll let you know what companies we like. But there are companies out there that will go and furnish the property for you. So you got to have some money for that. If you're trying to be a landlord, depending on what type of landlord, you may need some money for that. Trying to be a rehabber, fix and flipper, you do have to have access to money. You don't necessarily have to have a whole lot of money. You have to have access to people who have money, i.e., like us. We have what we don't have. We know people who do have it. So you don't need a whole lot of money if you're looking to get started as a flipper or a rehabber and things like that. But you do have to have access to funds, and then you have to have access to um, people with the knowledge and experience. So you can get started in, say fix and flipping for not cheap, but without having to have, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. 20, 30, $40,000, depending on what type of house you're buying. That's enough to get started as a fix and flipper. You just have to finance the rest of it, and it's very well doable. You got institutional lending, you got hard money, private money lending, and then you have group lending where you can crowdsource from a group of people. Family, friends, co-workers, whatever it is. So hopefully that answers that question for you guys. If you want more about that, we can definitely I can make another video or whatever. How do I find good real estate deals? So how do you find good real estate deals? It really depends on where you're looking, all right? Depending on what market you're in. But if you're a person who live in a small town where you don't have a lot of deals, it may be hard for you to find good real estate deals in your town. Ugh, sorry, y'all. I told y'all it's 4 o'clock in the morning, so sorry that I'm yarning. But all right, if you're in a small town, it may be hard for you to find real estate deals in your local area. So you may be the type of person who needs to invest in whatever the next largest city is close to you. If you're a person who's okay with doing like virtual deals, you can pick anywhere. Uh, For us personally, we do invest in our local market in Middle Tennessee, but we also are purchasing in Mississippi. We're not against purchasing in St. Louis, Florida. And to be honest with you, a lot of other places that I can't think of off the top of my head that we wouldn't mind buying in, that we've been looking at properties in. So, how do you find good deals? Get into the arenas where the good deals are flowing. Don't get stuck in an area where there are no deals. Secondly, network. The more you network, the more deals you will find. If you're wanting to be a landlord or you're looking to build up your landlording business, get into some real estate groups, whatever local real estate groups or whatever local to the market that you're working in. Get in those real estate groups and start networking with people because chances are your next deal is in somebody else's hands. Okay, there's a wholesaler out there that has a deal. If you're a wholesaler and you're trying to figure out how to get your next deal, get into the circles of individuals who get those deals. You know, Bunny and I are a big component of reaching out to the code officials because code officials got properties on their list that they don't want to have to deal with. They happily give you the information and help you contact with the seller so that you can purchase that property. There's ways to find deals. You just got to get creative. Um, Whether or not it's a good deal or a bad deal, any deal can be made into a good deal. You just got to know what you're looking at and negotiate it at the right price. Now, if that's something that you're not sure about, you want to definitely make sure that you're continuing to do your education on that so you can learn how to analyze deals. What does a good deal look like? We make videos on our channel all the time where we go over stuff like that. If you haven't checked out our latest couple of videos, I have one where I do a walkthrough with the contractor. I have another one where we do a walkthrough with the electrician. Today we're going to meet the plumber at the property. So if those are questions that you have, you just want to make sure that you're doing the research and just network with people. The more you network, um, the better off you're going to be. Somebody else asked me, should I start with residential or commercial properties? Again, it's subjective. This is a very subjective question. I mean, it really depends on the person. But personally, I would say residential. It's easier to get into residential deals. You can move residential deals a little bit faster. You have a bigger buyer pool when it comes down to residential properties because you can sell to anybody who's looking to purchase a property. Versus with a commercial property, it has to be a person who's looking to, run a business from that property or sublease out to people who are running the business. It could take longer to close on commercial deals. Sometimes they take, a couple of months to close because there's a lot of due diligence that has to be done with it. Um, so when getting started, would I say residential or commercial? I would definitely say residential over commercial. But if you're a person who already got connections in the commercial space, go commercial. Use the connections you already have. And then if you decide you want to add, residential to your portfolio, you can easily do that. Let me see. This is a more seasoned investor question. How do I scale my real estate portfolio effectively? Um, this depends on what your ideal return on investment is. Now, most people when they think of return on investment, they think of percentage earned or like a monetary amount. When I think of return on investment, I also account for my time. I want to make sure that whatever time I'm spending on a task that I'm getting back a appropriate return on that. And I get to determine what appropriate is. So same thing with scaling your business. It really depends on one, what type of business are you trying to run? Are you trying to have a large business or are you trying to maintain a small business? If a small business, then sometimes you don't need to increase or scale your portfolio. You need to diversify the things that you invest in. So instead of me wanting to own 200 single family properties, maybe I buy 20 single family properties so I can get my money up, and then I use that money to then go and purchase larger properties, multifamily properties, because then I can increase my cash flow, I can increase my passive income, I can increase my net worth, my portfolio worth without having to, yeah, I may have added 100 doors, but it's 100 doors all compact into one that I then get to turn over to a property manager, allow them to take 10%, and then I can enjoy the more passive incomes that comes with that. Versus, a lot of wholesalers, what we've always noticed, and the thing that was unappealing for me sometimes is that wholesalers want to grow their frequency. So you're constantly trying to get more deals in, because if you're making 10,000, 20,000 on a deal, you either got to bring in 10 of those a month to make 100,000 a month, or you got to get into a different arena of deals. You got to find deals that where you can close one deal a month and make $100,000, and that's doable. But the effectiveness depends on the person. Do you want to work on 10 properties to close 10 properties a month? Because it could be a lot. It could be daunting. And yeah, you can put people in place and all these other things, but then you have to ask yourself the next question. Do you want to be the person that has to manage people? Do you want to have to manage a team of people and be responsible for them? If that's something that you're okay with, then definitely um you can scale, and you can scale faster. Now, I always say when it comes down to like how much money you should put into scaling, um, set aside a fixed amount from every deal. Every time you close a deal, there should be an operating amount that you set aside. 30, 40% of whatever you made should go back towards scaling the business. This could be hiring virtual assistants. This could be outsourcing different tasks, finding more boots on the ground so you don't have to run appointments. Um, if you're running a real estate agency, getting more agents underneath your belt, sending out marketing pieces so that you can do more mass contact with people. Set aside that money so that you can have something to invest in that. But um, yeah. Um, let's see. What strategies can I use to finance multiple properties? Well, one of the best things that you can do is you can figure out ways to make package deals. Figure out ways to package all of the deals together. That can definitely help you to finance more deals. If you bought a package of, say 5 houses or something like that, you could definitely package that together as one deal and potentially get financing on all of it. Another way is crowdsourcing. Like I said, Bunny and I are parts of. We have a group called on the Fractional platform. Which, if you don't know what Fractional is, I had to make another uh, video about that. But I'll drop the link to our group in the comment in the description. But in this group, it's just a bunch of investors who look to invest in stuff. So you can find other investors outside of the bank and outside of other private money lenders that may be willing to invest on something that is a little bit more out there, a little bit more something that would typically seem to be hard to finance. You could definitely find financiers for it. And if you need help with that, hit us up and we can definitely see about setting up some a one-on-one time for us to talk about it and work it out. How do I find off market properties? Well, this depends on who you are, right? Um, one way you can find off market properties again is then this is let me start with a wholesaler. If you're a wholesaler looking to find off market properties, you can drive for dollars. You can send out mail pieces. You can pull lists. You can figure out who's on the foreclosure list, who's on the auction list. All of these different things. Reach out to those homeowners and see if they be willing to sell. That's one way to find off market properties if you're a wholesaler. If you are, say, a rehabber or a flipper, you can do the same thing that the wholesaler does. You can go out, you can drive for dollars, which means that you drive up and down the neighborhoods looking for properties. You can virtually drive for dollars, believe it or not, which means you get on like Google Maps and you can just drive up and down streets, and or Google Earth and drive up and down streets, put down properties that you like. Um, but as a rehab or flipper thing like that, you also have the luxury of being able to go to the wholesaler to get properties. Most wholesalers have properties on the contract, but they don't have a desire or maybe the means to make that deal happen. So, depending on what type of investor or where you are in your investing career, you could definitely find someone else who already has off market deals. Put yourself out there in Facebook groups, letting people know that, hey, I'm looking for off market deals. And here are my buying criteria. If you don't know what your buying criteria is, sit down and write it out. What type of, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what size, what square footage, how much potential rent are you looking to get for the property? How much of a rehab or repair are you willing to do? Write all that stuff out, and then just make it be known to people that you're looking to buy off market properties. Um, a way to not get off market properties normally is going to a realtor. Realtors normally are going to have on market properties. That's what they do. They are the real estate agents. They use the MLS. Those are properties on market. But if you're looking for off market, you definitely want to get into some investing networks where people are already sharing deals, and there's a lot of them out there. If you need some, let me know, and I can drop them in the comment too. Um, and let me back step for a minute, right? And talk about let me go back to the finance part, because, I think that in today's time, um, people have made it out to be that you can only get into real estate investing if you're like some rich person who can go out and buy the block up. That is not true, okay? You can get started in real estate investing either by having money of your own, by having access to the money. And having access to the money literally means that you know someone or some people who have money, and you use their money to make you money and to make them money. Now, as long as you're creating win-win scenarios, people will lend you their money to use for deals, as long as you're going to pay them back what you agreed to pay them. And the more that you pay them back what you agreed to pay them, the more that they will lend you money. Believe it or not, okay? But I thought it was funny because I was going over the story of Jacob in my mind not too long ago. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that story, the part of the story I'm talking about is when he was working for his father-in-law. Before he was his father-in-law, he wanted to marry the daughter, but then the father-in-law tricked him and said, "You got to marry the oldest daughter first because that was tradition, right?" But there was something about in that story that caught my attention, is when he was out with the goats, and he was essentially putting certain goats together so that the goats would make a spotted or striped goat, or whether it was a goat that had no blemish. And he was using his father-in-law's goats. You know, it it was funny because he he used someone else's resource to build wealth for himself. So when he finally left and had paid off his debt through working for his father-in-law, he walked away with all of this cattle that in that day and time was money. He but that's what we have to learn how to do now. When we have people who we know are looking to get into real estate investing, or we have people who we know lend money. We have people who we know have money. Maybe they'll lend it, maybe they won't lend it. But you never know until you ask, right? Myron Golden always say, "Tell me yes, tell me no, tell me now, I gotta go." You gotta go on to the next. So you want to ask, get a yes or a no, and then move on to the next one. Don't get so caught up on getting a yes. But when it comes down to finances, you can find money. Believe it or not, you can find money. If you find a good deal, the money is there to pay for the deal. Okay? Even if you had to partner with somebody. Vonnie and I are willing to partner with people and bring, 80 to 100% of the cost of the project for the right deal and the right split. Now, of course, it's got to be a win-win scenario. It's got to work for us too. But that's a win-win. Why would you pass up on a deal because you're not willing to figure out a way to make the deal happen? Figure out a way to make it happen. But that was a little tangent, and I'm gonna be going live talking about that later on. Maybe probably gonna be next month when I get to that story. But I just thought it was fascinating that Old Testament Bible shows us point way shows us the principle of using other people's money to make money, using other people's resources to make money. Even today's time, your job, for those of you who are up, at 4 in the morning on your way to work, getting ready for work, your job is using your time to make money. They pay you a fair wage, and you come in, you give them your time, and then, but off of your time, they're making way more than a fair wage. You get what I'm saying? If you're making, if you trust and believe, if you can make $100 an hour, your company is making $10,000 an hour off of you. You get where I'm going with that? So especially if you're actually putting in the work. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how business work. That's how you're gonna work. You're gonna find virtual assistants. You're gonna pay them a fair wage, and they're going to do work for you, and then based off how good the work is, you can pay them more because you want to keep them happy, but you're buying their time. You're not you We think that we're buying somebody's labor. You're buying their time. Regardless of what you are dealing in this world, is all time based. We are unfortunately constricted by time. So you're selling your time to your employer. You're looking for ways to buy your time back. Passive income is nothing but the ability to have your money making money even in your off time. We say off time, but when you become self employed, there is no off time. All your time is on time. So time is not money. Time is more valuable than money. But just think about that. Just think about that, y'all. How do I evaluate a potential fixer upper property? Um, so I'm not gonna go into the whole evaluation process. Like I said, we do have some videos on our page where we've done walkthroughs on fixer upper properties. So you can definitely go back, watch those videos, take some notes. If you still have questions, you can go visit our website and look into booking a time with us. For a small fee, and we can work that out. But how do you evaluate a property? One, is it in the area that you want to buy in? Two, what is the exit strategy for the property, and does that area support it? What I mean by that is, if you're looking to fix and flip, like you want to sell it on the MLS, it has to be in an area where people are buying. You can buy really cheap properties in a war zone, but nobody wants to buy it because it's in a war zone. So those are some things you do have to think about. Where is it located? How much work does it need? And does the price match the work? So if a person is asking for $200,000 for a house that ARV is $350,000, but the property needs 75 to $100,000 worth of work, that's not really a good deal. There's not enough, income in there for you to make that work, unless you were trying to be a landlord and you were able to get 3 grand a month for the rent. But if all of those things match up, if it's in a good neighborhood, it's a type of property that you wouldn't mind owning, or that you have already done the research and know can sell. Now, how do you know that? How you do the research? That's where realtors come in handy. Realtors can definitely tell you what areas are hot, where they see the trends at, what type of properties are selling fast versus other type of properties, what style property is selling fast. So you reach out to your realtors and ask them those questions. Your wholesaler is going to tell you that everything is selling. Okay. And that's not always true. Sometimes you're in a neighborhood where all the properties are 1950s, but they're building a bunch of new properties. Well, it could hurt the value of your 1950 property. So you want to look into those things, but um, to evaluate it, yeah, those are the first few things you want to know. What is my exit strategy, and does this property work for the exit strategy that I have in mind? I brought up the war zone, and I say war zone, but less desirable neighborhoods. The best that you could do with those neighborhoods a lot of times is going to be renting. Unfortunately, that happens to be where a lot of your Section 8 properties end up at, is in the sometimes in the less desirable neighborhoods. But to be honest with you, even those neighborhoods can be a win, especially if you can buy more than one. Because I believe that if you buy enough properties in what people may consider a war zone, you can really change the dynamic of the neighborhood, and before you know it, it's not a war zone, and you get to increase your value. So you buy in cheap, the area starts to get cleaned up, maybe because you or a group of investors, bought more properties in the area, and before you know it, it's a prime example is Nashville. Nashville, if you ever come to Nashville and you go to East Nashville had a history of being a less desirable part of town. It was mostly because it was the poverty-stricken part of time. It was mostly a lot of black people, but there was no money flowing in the area. All of a sudden now, um, the area is gentrifying. It's the most high demand area. Property values have gone through the roof in East Nashville, and is no longer considered to be the war zone or to be the hood necessarily. Some people may still call it hood, but it's not. It's far from that because the area has really, really gotten a facelift over the last couple of years. So that is something to keep in mind. How can I leverage technology to enhance my real estate investing business? Um, Man, so many different ways. I always tell people that your biggest asset is this right here, your cell phone. For those, some of you guys may not know this. If you're driving for dollars and you don't have, let's say you don't have money to pay for a CRM, you can take pictures with your phone. Okay, you can take pictures with your phone and then go back into where it geolocates the picture you took, and you can get the address. So you can build a list literally by taking pictures of houses, going back to the geolocate, pulling up where you took that picture at. It'll give you a timestamp and a location stamp, and add that to your list. Skip trace it, look and hit them up. Um, Another good thing is AI. AI is good in real estate investing. If you are a person who don't know how to write a letter to a seller or to a homeowner, you can have the AI help you do that. If you don't know how to create a marketing piece, you can have the AI help you do that. There's so many different things that you can have the AI help you do. It can even help you draft up contracts, believe it or not. Now, not saying that you are to rely on it, but it can help you. All right. Another technology thing. What is another technology thing? Drones are big right now in real estate investing. If you are, one of the ways that you can sell properties faster is by giving people an area view of the property. It's a different vantage point. It definitely can help. Um, there are a bunch of different CRMs and things out there that I guess I would consider technology. PropStream is one of our go-to platforms. There's also PropWire, which is a free version of something similar to PropStream. PropStream still has some things that I like about it, that makes us keep it, but PropWire is free to start for anybody who's looking for a free way to look up property information. Um, the internet. The internet is technology to the max. Okay, if you aren't utilizing the internet to find deals, to advertise deals, and all these other things, then you're missing out. If you're not using YouTube to figure out questions that you already have, because somebody's already had that problem and probably made a video about it, you're missing out. That is some technology that you definitely need to get behind. And I know there's some other things that I'm not thinking about right now. I mean, I'm a technology person. I mean, even right now, I got this light sitting in my car. I'm sitting in my car, but I got the little podcasting light so that you guys can see me. I mean, that's technology because otherwise, I'd be sitting here in the dark and you wouldn't be able to see me. You probably wouldn't watch as long as you're watching because you wouldn't be able to see me. So that's technology. Um, how can my faith guide my decision in real estate investing? Oh man, listen, my faith guides everything, right? Um, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I believe that Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Um, I believe that God is the creator of all things, and to include real estate investing. He gave us dominion, told us to be fruitful, have dominion, and to spread across the earth. So as a real estate investor, I really feel like that is what we are doing. Secondly, you're helping people. Real estate investors help people. Now, there are always going to be greedy people out there, but overall, no matter what type of real estate you're in, you're helping people. If you're a wholesaler, you're helping sellers who have a property but maybe can't or don't know how to sell it. You're helping buyers who need a project or need a property but can't find a property. If you're a fix and flipper, you're buying a property from someone who needs to sell a property, and then you're fixing the property, which means that you're giving somebody a job because somebody had to come in and do the work, and then you're selling the property to a person or a family that can then call it home. You are solving problems. That is kingdom at its finest. Okay, take care of Jesus' sheep. And so I think there's a misconception that you can't make money while talking about God or while putting God first, and that's not true. Put God first in your business and watch how it grows. So how can your faith guide your decisions? Just let it guide your decisions. I mean, I don't know how else to put that. If something feels wrong or it feels like you're being going against your faith or your belief, then it's probably wrong and you probably shouldn't do it. If a deal is wrong and it just doesn't feel right, it goes against your beliefs, don't do it. Goes against your faith, don't do it. There's no reason to jeopardize your salvation for $1 or for $100,000, for $1 million. Like your salvation is worth more than that. Your family bloodline is worth more than that. Your reputation is worth more than that. So just simple. I mean, a simple answer to that is just let your faith guide your real estate decisions. Um, what biblical principles can help me succeed in real estate? I think there's a lot of them that can help you succeed in real estate. One being the story that I just got finished talking about with using other people's money. Um, you know, we can do all things through Christ that strengthen us. That is a good principle, that you can do anything as long as you're putting God first. You want to be a builder, you want to be a developer, you want to own a 150 door apartment complex. You can do all of those things, okay? And I think that there are biblical principles that guide all of that. Anything that you do, do it with all your might. You know what I'm saying? Solomon said, "Don't waste your time chasing after the vanity things of the world. You don't have to waste your time watching TV, watching games, watching movies, keeping up with the Kardashians and the Joneses. Um, Focus on your business. Focus on how you can serve God's people while doing the thing that makes you money, and the biblical principles will start to just pop out to you, believe it or not. Um but definitely go back and watch some more. I know I keep on saying that. Go back and watch some videos, watch some of the other videos, but we did a bunch of live videos where we talk about this exact principle, that could definitely be helpful for you guys. Let's see. I'm gonna answer one more question before I get off. How can I improve my property management processes? That really depends on if you actually have a property management process in place. Sometimes we think that we need to improve on a process, but we don't actually have a process to improve. So that's one question. Make sure that that's one thing to look at. Make sure that you actually have a process. If you actually have a process, the simplest way to improve it is to look at the things that are working and double down on them. Look at the things that are not working and get rid of them. Thirdly, don't be afraid to outsource, 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 outsource. Yes, you may spend some money to outsource something, but you free yourself up of the headache of having to do it yourself. We're doing a student housing project right now, and we're going to outsource that to the property management. They're going to charge us 10% operating costs of the rents to manage the property for us. But we definitely want to do that because I don't want to get calls in the middle of the night because the hot water heater went out or none of that stuff. So for me, optimizing our property management process is outsourcing that process. And for some of you guys, that may be the answer for you too. So how do you improve on your property management processes? Make sure that you have a process, double down on what works, get rid of the things that don't work, and outsource, outsource, outsource. I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. Um, Make sure that you hit the subscribe button because Bunny and I are going to be doing a lot of these videos over the next couple of days. For anybody who's looking to go head first into real estate investing, you definitely need to reach out to us so we can get you plugged in for our upcoming training event. And we'll see you guys around. All right, peace.